The friends battled the three brigands into submission, knowing they would require the services of a criminal contact in Mekurdika. They they spared their lives and enlisted their services for a modest sum of gold, half paid up front and half paid upon their safe arrival to the ship at the Mekurdika docks. And so the half-orc brigand and his company made their way ahead of the party to Mekurdika, where they would plan a distraction for Adrik Drach and his ilk to ensure the safety of the adventurers. Welcome back to New Dalancia, our Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition campaign. I uh I think everybody's pretty clear on. Well, does anybody have any questions on where we were last session? I guess let's open with that.
I think we were pretty much resting, and I knocked on the mirror.
Yes, that's right. You did knock on the mirror.
I think that's pretty much where we left off.
So right now, as you can see on the journey map that's in front of you, we are around, I'd say, 2 days from Mekurdika. Um, given given nothing happens between here and there, um, we've got mostly grassland, and then it'll eventually break into forest, and you'll arrive. So you've sent ahead your criminal contact cohorts, I suppose we'll call them, and they'll be setting up the distraction as you originally had planned in the place of Cyrene, so as not to split the party. So I guess the next thing to ask is, what do you guys intend to do over the next 2 days of travel? Are you just going to continue along the path that we discussed before, in which Rekia, I believe you were doing a lot of hunting, Ianfyr, you know, trying to keep the food stores up. Ianfyr, you were doing research on dwarven politics, dwarven judicial system, and sort of trying to find a way out of this mess with Kimrim and Govin um, legally. Um, Heltheus, you've been mostly practicing combat proficiencies with Valphalin and Antarius, mostly Antarius, I believe.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if you guys want to change that for the next 2 days. Anybody have anything they? Well, I guess let's go down the line. Like before, I think it kind of works out better that way. So I'll just start with Cyrene. What are you doing over the next 2 days of travel?
So Serene doesn't really have any like books or anything like that to study. So she's probably going to be keeping a lookout using her fairy senses to kind of like maybe hear things that the others might not be able to, or
Okay.
feel sense things. Mhm.
To that end, could you please roll a perception check?
Yes, sir. Let me get that. 1 second. Mhm. There it is. No.
That's okay. That's okay. Um, all right. So, Healthiest, how about you? What are you doing over the next 2 days of travel?
Um, I'm, I kind of want to like go to everyone and see what we can do. Oh, excuse me. Um, Also, I kind of want to see about l- re-examining the writ that the Govin is being taken with.
The writ itself is currently in possession of Adrik Drach. Do you intend at some point to? Um,
Make contact, yes.
okay, so you want to like go over to him and request to see the writ?
Right.
Okay, excellent.
Uh, yeah. So I think that would be the first thing that I do.
Okay. let me follow up with you on that in just a moment. So I'll get back with
No
you. Let
problem.
me go down the list
Good.
and do everybody, kind of get everybody's input here. So next up, we have Psycon. What do you want to be doing over this next 2 days, barring any
Um,
unforeseen circumstances? I'm sorry, Ianfyr.
um, I think. Yeah, I think Ianfyr is just gonna kind of sort of study up on like more of the sort of like the political sort of you know how each house sort of where they stand sort of in the sort of the scheme of the uh, basically how what they stand for and what their current standing is in the political scheme of things.
Okay, let me take a quick note of that. So
Are you lawful?
I'm chaotic.
Oh, okay. Weird. I think I'm chaotic too.
all
I
right,
think.
excellent, excellent.
Let's see. Did it say here somewhere?
Misku, how about you? What are you doing for the next 2 days?
So anytime the wagon's in motion, Misku's going to be sitting on the back wagon, just staring down the uninvited guests behind us, following us,
Okay.
pulling away on her pipe. If the wagon stopped, she's going to go out in the woods and do some practice swings with her club. Maybe do some drills
Hunt
off of trees.
or hunt.
And other than that, Misku's going to spend any free time outside of those two activities sleeping.
Okay, excellent.
Hmm.
Rek, how about you? What are you up to for the next 2 days? You pretty much let me put out there that you pretty much have the food store shop topped off. You guys should be good to go until you reach Mekurdika, unless you're intent on kind of keeping those stores 100 at the 100% the full length of as getting all the way there.
Well, I'm a little worried that we might run out of food while we're on this boat. Because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how long we're going to be out on the water. I'm worried. So he's going to spend the entire time like trying to stockpile as much as he can.
That is a perfect description of that, because it definitely has been built up for you that that this is going to be a long journey and something that's sort of unprecedented in your life. Like, you haven't really ever um, ever sailed overseas before. You've mostly stuck to the shallows and or the immediate Gulf and fished and things like that.
Yeah, mainly just a few hours on a small boat, doing fishing and things like that. So anything over a day is just unfathomable to him. So
Right. So
I will.
You're like panic.
We got to be
hoarding.
prepared.
It's a great
Doomsday
mentality.
prepper.
So I will do another survival check if you want.
Yes, please.
All right, 21.
Yay.
21.
Nice.
Let me think about that for just a moment.
No worries.
Okay. Yeah, actually, given your previous experience as an orc traveling with a nomadic culture of orcs, I would say you probably have some experience not only securing food but also preserving it. Therefore, you actually build up quite a nice stockpile of food. Um, while it's perhaps not a year's worth, you've got several weeks, perhaps even a few months um, worth of backstock of all different variety of meats, vegetables, fruits, and all very well preserved and packaged.
Beef jerky time.
Be- Snap into a Slim Jim. All right. Yeah, cool. Excellent. Tess, how about you? What are you doing for the next 2 days?
Tess is still studying the plague, and in between that, she'll, I guess, prepare herself through lots of meditation.
Okay. In your studies of the magical plague, you deduce that you're able to detect traces of the plague itself using your detect magic.
On what?
On the flesh.
Okay.
But you draw the conclusion from that you may be able to use detect magic to detect traces of the disease in living tissue as well, or undead tissue, as it were, unliving tissue. Well, wait, no, I guess it would be unliving tissue, not living.
Okay, I'm confused. Is it alive tissue or dead tissue?
Both. You should
Okay.
be you find that you should be able to detect that using either detect magic or detect disease and poison. Should you have that spell prepared?
Okay.
While that isn't necessarily hints toward a cure, it definitely helps you yourself in knowing exactly how to isolate the disease itself. All right. So I'm going to do a quick roll here. Probably should have just done that on my desk. All right. Yeah, absolutely. So you guys do, you guys continue along the road, making camp, and not as often as you travel down the through the grassland, but a lot less frequently now do you circle the wagons and allow the horses time to rest and everything as you're closing in on the end of your journey, and the horses are going to get plenty of time to rest once you make it into Mekurdika. Let me go ahead and remove our marker. Me reload here. All right, so let me this up real quick. Sorry. Heltheus,
Yes.
you at one point um, you guys make camp for the first for the final night before your arrival at Mekurdika. Um, this is the point where you can start to make off a forest over to the west in the distance. You make your way over to the wagon, the Drach wagon, the Drach liaison's wagon, and Adrik, seeing you approach, hops down from the wagon with sort of a uh, sort of thud.
Ah, my good liaison. I must speak with you.
Yes, of course. What can I do for you?
Yeah, I was wondering, can I take a look at that writ of yours?
But of course. And he produces it um, quite carefully from his within the folds of his robe and unfurls it um, and shows it to you, still holding on to it.
Okay. Do you mind if I examine this for a few moments?
By all means, and he hands it over to you.
All right. All right. So I'm gonna take the writ, and I um, thank you, or I thank Drax for letting me re-examine the writ and be most appreciative, be very friendly.
Sure, he acts very cordially toward you. He doesn't seem to be hostile in any way. Like he doesn't he doesn't try to weasel around with it or anything. He just directly hands you the writ and stands patiently um, as you review it. So this is a very official looking document, of course. And
Okay. So
oh, I'm sorry.
who is it? David. Who's David?
That's Ianfyr.
Ianfyr. All right, so I'm gonna go head on over to Ianfyr, seeing that he's doing most of the research of politics and everything, and I'm gonna go over this document with him.
Okay, so the Drach, our Adrik Drach accompanies you. So Ianfyr at while camp is being set up and food is being prepared, the Heltheus and the Drach liaison approach you.
Oh,
Uh,
yes. Greetings.
Hey, Ianfyr, I need some help with this.
Some, if something that I have the ability to help with, I shall do my best.
All right. So I pull out the writ,
okay.
and um, yeah, how close is Drac to us? Like, is he like right on top of us, or what?
He's with you. He's around. I'd say probably within 5 or 10 feet of you. He
Mm,
just he's kind of following you because you have the writ and that he needs to have that with him.
ah, okay. All right. Well, I promise to bring it back. Okay. So I just think. Okay. Cool. All right. So I'm looking for anything. I'm talking to Infu here. I'm looking for anything that is contrary to what is actually happening here. And I kind of like, uh, kind of put my finger on the document and kind of read along with Infu or whatnot. Is there anything on the document that says that Govin is not being arrested, captured, or anything that is not what's going on?
Absolutely.
So, well, I was going to say,
go ahead.
I would really like to examine this document very closely because one of my proficiencies is I have a forgery kit, and I can from my which feature was it?
Can you do that from my hands, just so we're not making the accompanying party uneasy?
Well, no. So essentially, because if I ever examine any document, I can
Uh-huh.
basically mimic it, or mimic documents of that kind of style.
That's right. He's
Oh,
used it before.
really?
Yeah.
I might need your help with other things too.
Right. But so yeah, I'm gonna examine this document very closely. So the signature of the emperor, the style of the decree, and everything. So that
Okay.
way, I in future I would be able to create a similar style document if needed.
Absolutely. So it's not an especially long document. It is a single page, not front and back. Just the front of this has print on it. It appears to be handwritten, of course. Like we didn't use any other kind of like magical means to to write it. It's written in plain black ink, and but the penmanship is rather excellent on it. It does bear the signature of the emperor, and it has verbiage in Dwarven that reads something to the extent of in common. Um, um, by order of Emperor Craven Drach, Kimrim Godbury and Govin Godbury are hereby ordered to appear before the Emperor for questioning regarding recent events.
Is there a date or a time that
It
he needs to appear by?
it says immediately, essentially. Like,
Okay. So
It's a-
does it say anything about this liaison taking him captured?
no, it says nothing of imprisonment or capture or anything of the sort. Just that they are um, to appear before the Emperor immediately.
Does it say anything about being arrested?
No, this is not a warrant for arrest. This is a writ of
Summons, essentially.
yes, is a writ of summons.
So Govin doesn't necessarily need to be locked up in a wagon somewhere.
Right. He's not going to be locked up. No.
Well, kind of seems to
was-
me like he's
that was-
kind of locked up.
That was never implied.
Uh,
Well, Govin has not been in the Drach wagon at all. He's been in his own wagon. He's not been him or Kimrim have not been clad in irons or anything of the sort.
We're just being
Oh,
escorted
yeah.
right now.
What's that?
We're just basically being escorted at this time.
Yes, that's right. He's basically escorting. The Dracs are basically escorting you to Mekurdika, at which point Govin and Kimrim will continue along with them, go see the Emperor, and work everything out. Essentially, just answering his questions. So they're
So-
not being arrested or anything like that.
So when Rollo and Adrik first arrived or got involved and said that they had an order of seizure for Govin and Kimrim, they said that when we got to town that Govin and Kimrim would be arrested. So they were lying.
So it seems.
Okay.
If that's how you remember it, then yes.
I mean, it
That's
also
that's
could
how
be
I
if they
noted
said,
it.
yeah, if they said that they're being arrested, maybe he's being a bit hasty and having reread it, with us, it'd be like, well, that's probably why he's been more lenient towards accompanying us as opposed to, just straight off taking them to the Emperor.
It's possible also that Adrik was feigning that he was arresting them to try to assert control, some manner of control that he didn't actually have the political power to do based on this document.
Yeah, he said that they weren't going to be arrested until we got to town, so we were expecting to arrive at town and then Govin and Kimrim would be arrested.
okay, so
Doesn't seem to line up with the
are you
document.
gonna say anything to who's this? Is this Kes or
I was speaking out of
Tess?
character. Tess is
Oh, okay.
not with you guys right now. She's probably doing something else.
Flying around somewhere catching bugs?
I was just looking for clarification because I had remembered it differently.
Okay.
You probably remembered it correctly, but the document just simply does not line up with how Adrik presented this in the first place.
Okay. So I'm not gonna take action on that one, but I basically wanted to make sure that everything on this document was being followed and we are aware of it.
Yeah, everything so far seems to at least say that they're merely being summoned, as far as I can tell.
So technically they don't even need to be taken. We can appear in court basically.
It's possible, but you know how these political types are. They send someone in order to make sure the job gets done. Although I would imagine that this is more of a of a sort of show against Kimrim, at least from what I've been able to determine from sort of the intrigue that I've read so far.
Okay. I'm gonna like hop over to Drax real quick.
Okay, he's about 10 feet away from you, and he's
Are you good with the document in fear?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Ianfyr, you note the extreme curvature of both the letters K and D in the emperor's name. They denote a bit of a self-importance that is very stately and also common amongst the dwarves that you've met in your lifetime.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back over to Drach, and I'll be like, okay, well, thank you for letting me examine this document. I also have a question for you.
Yes, of course.
Do you uh, can you explain to me why Cameron and Govin are being summoned?
I have not as much detail on this subject, you see, but the way that I understand it is there are some happenings that occurred during the expedition to Din Therum, and the Emperor simply seeks to, how to say, bring this information to light. There were some documents, I am told, that are of the utmost importance to House Drach, and should be turned over into the Dwarven archives. No doubt you yourself are a man of literature and history. You can
Sure.
understand the desire of the dwarves to maintain our very rich and historic
So,
culture.
so if you were to happen to have these documents, you wouldn't have the need for Cameron and Govin?
We require Kimrim and Govin for questioning only. Once they have completed their questioning, they are to be released, of course.
Ianfyr is gonna sort of look up towards. Well, would I be close enough to hear them talking?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
So he's gonna try to see if he can grab the attention of Heltheus, and Heltheus only, and kind of, shake his head when he hears the word documents. Like, just try to make it as subtle as possible.
So you want to go on the backside of what's his name?
Yeah, pretty much. Or if just sort of like if, yeah, he'll just angle him so he won't be exactly in the viewing or
Of
in the
Drach.
direct view of Drach. Yeah.
And he's like, no, stop it, no, stop.
Ianfyr, so I'd like you to either roll stealth or sleight of hand, whichever you have. And you can, of course, if you need some time to look through spells and see if you have anything, that's fine too.
Probably this would be sleight of hand.
Okay.
Okay. Oof.
Ouch.
Before. Do I really want to? Yeah, you know what? I do kind of want to do this. I'll actually do this with my Tides of Chaos ability.
Okay.
So I can do this with advantage. Only once until I take a long rest. But
Okay.
then it also, if I cast a spell, basically level 1 or greater, you can choose whether or not it has wild magic with it.
Okay.
or let me see, what's the exact wording on there? Hang on.
If you could link it, that would be amazing.
Uh, uh,
Excuse me.
huh. Okay, give me a sec. All right, I think I know what I have to do then. Okay, so I can't mess with that, but nice to know it puts the thing in here in my features. There we go.
I hear campfire. I hear campfire.
Yeah,
That's right.
And so I'm gonna do.
Crackle pop. What is that?
Ooh.
I couldn't tell what it
Ianfyr,
was.
Ian, that was a 20.
That was a nat
He
20.
critted. That was a nat
Sweet.
20. So Ianfyr gestures toward you, Heltheus, the significance of which is
Maybe it's just like
Don't let those
vividly-
stand up
documents.
to his
Vividly
neck, and it
apparent.
was like no, and putting his finger up to his lips, and kind of like no.
Yeah, the Drach does not even notice.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm basically gonna after kind of just glancing over for a split second, in fear of seeing what he's doing, I'm gonna tell Drach, well, thank you for letting me examine this document. I probably will be in contact with you for the next couple of days until we get to Mekurdika. Whatever.
Yes, and if I may put your mind at ease, House Mage, the
Mhm.
Emperor is not seeing any other audiences during this crisis. And so, I assure you, our time spent with Kimrim and Govin will be most hastily completed.
This is not a public thing.
No, not. He's implying that it's not a public thing. It's going to be sort of a, like they're not on trial or anything like that. They're there to simply answer questions and provide knowledge to the Emperor.
Okay, good liaison. Wherever Govin goes, I go. My loyalties are with Govin.
If that is your wish.
It is. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a bow or tip of the hat or something, and I'm gonna head back over to Ianfyr, and I'm gonna see what is going on.
So do you hand Drac back his document?
Yes, I hand him back his document.
He furls it back up into, or he curls it back up into a sort of scroll, and he places a band around the scroll. It looks like a small metallic, possibly copper band, and places it into back into the folds of his robe carefully.
Okay, so what is it? Is it gold, copper, or silver?
Take a look at your character sheet real quick. Do you have any kind of proficiency that would allow you to do that? It does not look like it.
Huh? What?
You can't really tell, but based on the color, it looks like it may have been copper.
Okay. I just want to make sure that that's kind of like noted.
He places it back into his robe. He gives a humble bow and proceeds back toward his wagon.
All right, so Ianfyr, like, what?
I'm gonna say, I think we need to have a little bit of a chat with Tess. Sort of lead him along. We'll try to make it look as casual as possible.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that. What?
I was saying, I think we need to have a little bit of a chat with Tess, and
Okay.
sort of like we'll walk, like try to make it look as casual as possible.
I'm kind of trying to get all kinds of information from pretty much everyone, so I might be coming
Right.
up to everyone eventually from time to time.
So basically, we're gonna try to see try to keep it so that if we're meeting
Well,
with Tess, it's gonna be somewhere sort of
I
like
think Tess isn't around.
Tess is in a
Well-
wagon munching on some beef jerky. You just gotta find her.
right.
Ah.
So that's why I was saying we're gonna go meet her.
Okay.
So as the two of you approach Tess, you denote that her eyes look rather strained today, as though she has a terrible headache.
I don't think now's a good time.
Well, unfortunately, now may
Still-
be the only time.
You're quite within earshot at this point, and she is happily, as happily as can be, munching away on a stick of jerky.
I could see that in my head.
Seeing them approach, Tess will look up and smile, still kind of chewing, and say, "Oh, hello, friends. Would you like some?" And then she literally offers the very piece that she's been chewing
She's
on
been
to
gnawing
them.
on.
Ianfyr's gonna sort of look at them and be like, I think I'm good, thank you. But we were able to look at the document and listen to some of what the Drach representative was saying about Kimrim and their meeting. And like Ianfyr is going to sort of look around close, just basically trying to make sure that they're sort of as secure as can be, so that he'll lean in close and like sort of like gesture for Heltheus to do the same. He says, "It's about the documents from the temple."
Oh no.
Okay, I'm leaning in, going, "Yeah, what's these documents?"
Tess supposes that House Drach really wants to get a hold of these papers we have concerning House Balfour.
Okay, how important are they to us?
Very. Tess thinks we cannot allow these people to get a hold of these papers. We have to see if we can sneak these ones by.
It has
Okay,
it has the potential to affect the political power in the entirety of the nation.
Ianfyr, are you able to make copies?
I mean, I have seen these documents. As long as I've had a good look at them, I should be able to create reasonable
What?
facsimiles.
Well, I
Um,
figure if you get up in the wagon with Tess or whatnot and just basically stay hidden for a while and make these copies, I mean,
If
who's
if
to
they get
say you're doing
copies,
something else?
if they get copies though, they will just get the same information.
Right.
Maybe we don't want them to have exact copies. Maybe write fairy tales.
Or okay.
Tess
I
is
mean,
very tired.
if these documents are so important to this race of people, I mean, who's to say that we are to hold it against them?
I just want to take a brief moment to, as sort of a reminder of what these documents contain, because I know I don't have them stored in handouts on this platform. So the documents in question, Ianfyr and Tess, you would have been pretty closely, you may have even read back over since Dintherum, but these were the journal pages of the Drach. I think his official title was High Summoner, and he essentially documents his time spent as a first as an advisor to the leadership that was House Balfour leadership in Dintherum, and later on he would usurp said leadership after working with a devil that he summoned. So that devil had eventually betrayed him, and he um, he bound the devil's soul to the tree, which is what caused everyone in Din Therum to start to turn into the undead, which is where you guys came in.
So this basically helps Tess with her research as well.
I mean, potentially, but the main thing is
I
if
wasn't
this
quite
is
finished.
yeah, it's like, but there's more. So
He
Yeah.
So you guys found the remainder of the well, you found the pages of this this journal of his.
Is there a
Next,
map in this journal?
no, there's not.
Okay. Okay.
There is a so you guys found these journal pages on the corpse of what he and his journal referred to as a servant that was staying that had locked he had locked himself in this room with. The servant had started to pass and turn, and so he decapitated the servant and left his corpse there to rot. He started to sort of show
It
signs
was
of
already rotting.
insanity in his writing. Um, but
Scribbles.
he basically talks about being locked in this room with this corpse and this mirror, as well as various books. So
Going crazy.
after a few weeks, a woman appears from the mirror and like comes out of the mirror and talks to him and offers him great wealth and great power if he'll accompany her to the other side. And that's where the journal kind of cuts off.
Okay, so that answers a little bit of the mirror questions. All right. So what am I doing here?
A little bit more history regarding the journal pages themselves, just in case anybody else present doesn't recall. You guys had started out with the journal pages, but they were stolen by Adrik Drach, along with a key, and he had tried to close the gates and bar you all inside Den Therum and escape with all of the documents. However, he died on his
Is
way
that
out before he could close you all in.
okay? So this isn't the same Drac that's with us.
No,
no.
not the same Drach. He died.
Okay.
Adrik Drach died. There was another Drach that came to meet him that day and searching for him when you guys exited Den Therum. And he demanded to see Smethik and he demanded the documents, but you told that particular Drac that those documents, or that you did not have the documents, that they were still in the ruins somewhere, and you also informed him that Smethik had died and said you're welcome to go examine the corpse yourself, and that's
And
where you
we're
left.
not to blame.
No, clearly not. He
Well,
had
yeah,
been
no.
he had
He'd
been
been
murdered
killed
by
by a
the undead.
zombie. Yeah.
He had been killed by the undead.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think anybody in the party at the time kills anything by like biting or clawing at it, but
I never know.
it
But-
was pretty clear that he had been killed by the undead.
Either way, the point is we don't want him to have those documents because it's basically sort of an incriminating thing for House Drac, and they probably wanted to keep it silent and to get rid of it.
Now that's kind of why I figure we can make copies if we need to have copies. And someday we come up to the royal palace and they're like high and mighty, and we'll be like, bam!
I mean,
Here's a document.
So the problem would be, say we do give them, and it's like the point is, they go, well, what's the to be, forgeries? So I would want to give them false ones just in case. Even though this leads me to believe that, if they want it so badly, they might already know what's on those documents.
My thing is the documents I may be able to free Govin and Kimrim with the documents. That's what my goal is to basically get Kimrim and Govin free and clear without having to go halfway around the world and appear in front of some imperial judicial BS, you know? Well,
Ianfyr, very quickly, could you please roll a history check with advantage due to your recent research?
Okay. 3.
yay.
Natural 20.
I have not seen that go off yet. I wonder what's going on here. That's weird. Did you see that go off, hon? His die roll.
I saw it.
Huh.
I didn't see yours the last time, but I did.
Well,
I've seen everybody else's.
his
that's-
is his was hidden supposedly, but
That's
oh,
strange.
okay.
Yeah, mine was a hidden roll.
That's why.
Okay, nat 20, absolutely. So it's pretty apparent to you that that the documents themselves are to be used as some form. Um, they're to be used as some form of evidence by Godbury to incriminate House Drach because of their role in overthrowing House Balfour. Now, while that's ancient history, and it may not turn out to matter in with current events, it actually really is strong evidence against House Drach for future, as far as like future
political events.
political events and judicial events
Yeah.
and things concerning House Drach in general within that system.
But I mean, my main thing is just uh, based on how badly I feel like they've been presenting, they want to know or they want the documents. It suggests to me that they know already what they say, and they're trying to cover it up. So, the longer they
Okay.
don't have them, the more.
Who,
maybe-
how did you come to, or how did the party come to getting this campaign to go in and retrieving these documents in the first place?
That was an expedition that was put out there by Kimrim Godbury. So this ruin was like the most ancient dwarven city and dwarven ruin that they had ever uncovered.
So
they went
Cameron
in.
is with us, right?
Yeah, Kimrim is a historian and expeditioner,
He's
among
like
other things.
somewhere in a wagon or around the campfire somewhere.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, she.
No, it's okay.
Um,
She's around.
Okay,
Probably in
so
the main
does
tent.
Kimran have any quarrels with House Drach or anything?
As far back as you know, firstly, you've spent the majority of your time with Govin, but you are familiar with Kemrim. Like you do have a familiarity
Okay,
with her.
how about I rephrase? The Kimran and or the Godberries have any problems or quarrels with the Drach?
That's
Is
going to
that
be
better?
that's going to be something that you probably wind up asking Ianfyr. Ianfyr, I'll let you answer that one.
I mean, so from my readings anyway, it's. I mean, there's a bit of a history going on, but the leader of House, well, the current leader for all of
All of
what's the-
Siuk.
of Siuk is the emperor is basically is offspring of from House Godbury and House Drach. But what this really boils down to is basically he's been trying to defund Kimrim's expeditions in order to, fund war, essentially. I mean, and it's not exactly like this is like, just evil, like, we're gonna go conquer people. This is, he's been trying to stop sort of the
Take over the world?
no, nothing like that. This is, he's just been trying to stop the basically like the
There's
orcs?
Yes, there's an ongoing war happening in Jendu and North Malia between the orcs of Jendu and the elves and other cultures that exist in North Malia, where the orcs are essentially out for conquest there. So essentially what Ianfyr is describing as the effort by Drach or by Craven to sort of militarize and then send aid over to North Malia against Jendu.
And it's more because essentially they're creating sort of like problems in the water for people to be able to get supplies across
And trade.
and trade and whatnot. So like
These are the orcs, right?
Yeah,
so
these are the orcs.
The orcs are causing these problems on the water, and Craven is essentially trying to stop them, but by doing so he has to draw money from somewhere. In this case it's from Kimrim's expeditions towards discovering the histories and like the lost sort of.
Well, in retrospect, I think that is kind of a not necessity right now.
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, trying to there's basically House Godbury and one of
But
the
then-
other great houses are
I
trying
guess-
to basically keep these expeditions going and just find see if they can find other ways to fund this war. It's not that they're against it; it's just they would like these expeditions to continue,
Right.
especially
well, I mean,
given how
to
good she is at it.
to say that it's not really important right now, but then turn around and say, "Hey, I want these documents." It's like, okay, what? So, is there something more going on here?
Ianfyr believes that the documents they're trying to cover up the information in the documents. That's why House Drach wants them.
Yeah, they want these documents specifically because they don't want anyone else to reveal this information, and because they know what's on there, which implicates them as sort
Okay,
of having
Ianfyr,
basically
Are
caught.
you dwarven?
No, I'm half elf.
Okay, even worse. How is this any of our business?
I mean, it's our business in regards of
The dwarf.
Go ahead.
Heltheus, a little bit of context. The dwarves make up the majority of the populace of the world.
Okay, so yeah, that's more of a family matter than a venturing party matter, right?
But globally speaking, it impacts everybody, because it means an exchange, a very large exchange of power in the most powerful nation in the world.
Going to who?
So imagine if it were to use a real life example, the president was assassinated for the United States, and it was revealed that it was set up by the vice president.
Right. So this might mean a shift in a political party or a shift in political agenda.
Well, I get it. I understand, but who would be benefiting from this document the most? I guess you could say.
Depends on. So if Godbury has it and they archive it and they release the information to the public, it could cause an uprising against House Drach.
And especially against the all their policies. If it's revealed that they sort of rose into power by sacrificing this ancient great city, is by making a deal with a demon.
However, I will point out that Heltheus does make a very valid point from his own perspective. Who cares?
I mean, clearly Kimrim cares.
Clearly House Godbury cares. But that doesn't necessarily imply that you should. I'm not saying that you should not. I am merely stating that this is a dwarf. He's right in that this is a dwarven matter, and while it does have some impact across the world, maybe it really doesn't matter once you get to Schapeben. Who knows? Really, what you guys are about is that mirror at current and the disease.
And if nothing else, like those documents, reference that mirror as well. So
They're
but nobody really knows that we have the mirror except for this very loud knocking noise that happened last night.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I would say, if you're really so concerned, speak with Kimrim and see what she feels.
Oh, Cameron and
And
Govin?
Govin.
Yeah, okay. Then I might have to do that.
Absolutely.
And while if he's gonna leave, I'm gonna basically look to Tess and say, do you still have those original documents we found about that D character?
Yes, you do.
Because I was gonna say I would like to I don't remember. I think we had documents actually written from D.
Yes, that's correct. You had letters and things like that.
And I want to examine that D and see if it looks similar to the D from the letter that we got from the
To
notice.
the D.
Yeah, from that from the House Drach summons.
You want to examine the D?
Yes, of course. Let Tess find it for you. And then she starts digging through all of the
bag.
stuff in her bag.
I can get those sent to you. I have them in PDF, but they comparing the two documents, Ianfyr, you do not see any resemblance in the handwriting at all. Not even
Yeah.
close. Completely different person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose so.
In fact, go ahead and roll. That's actually a good question. I wonder what I'd have you roll for that.
What are you trying to do?
Basically, have him inspect the handwriting on this
investigation,
closer.
probably.
Go ahead and
the
roll it.
investigation.
Investigation. Go ahead and roll it. I'm also going to roll 1d20 just to.
Oh, did I just roll that as advantage? Oh my god! Sorry, hang on a sec.
My chat's frozen. I'm gonna have to exit the game and come back.
Well, we'll be here.
Okay. Hold on, real quick, guys. Sorry about that. It might disconnect everybody.
It did.
Yeah, I did.
At least
it's
until you
okay.
reconnect, anyway.
I super apologize.
No worries.
So go on.
We're
I'm
all
sorry.
here. So what are you doing, Ianfyr?
So basically, we had some documents sort of at the very beginning of our campaign from a guy who was called D, and essentially was sort of behind the summonings of the demons in the very beginning to cause problems and stuff. And we were trying to investigate him, but I was trying to see if these documents were may have been written by the same guy, but
Clearly not.
well, yeah, clearly it's not matching the same sort of handwriting.
Clearly not matching the same sort of handwriting, but given your investigation skill check, I see that you rolled a 14 on it. You do denote that he does not have the same sort of case when he writes his name as what you would expect from other cases of dwarves you've seen handwriting, which may or may not imply that he's not actually dwarven.
And whose handwriting is this supposed to be?
This is someone else.
This is someone that they've encountered a few let's say a few plots and foiled a few plots from. This character named D, who was possibly working out of Mekurdika, or maybe in that area, stopping transports and things going from Mekurdika to Bunavar, and sometimes raiding them and things like that.
Is that the next town over? I'm not sure.
That's the town where we're headed.
Well, I know the Granaver or whatever.
Bunavar, yeah, that's where you joined the party from. You were working there as the house mage.
Okay, but is that the next town over? I can't see because the map.
Yeah, so
it's the next major city.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's the one. Yeah, it's the one at the very sort of top of the map where we started our path from.
Yep. Might need to zoom out a little bit.
I'm zoomed out as far as I can. I think. Oh, maybe I wasn't. but it's not refreshing because it's game paused.
If it
Game's
says
not
game
paused.
pause, you need to refresh your browser and then re-log in.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
only
okay.
seeing me and
Refresh.
I'm only seeing Val and Tess in the game right now. So you might
Oh,
need to
I
really?
see
refresh.
everyone in here.
You may need to
Yeah, I see
refresh as
everything.
well because I restarted the game.
Okay, well, I'm refreshing right now. But other than that, I think.
Okay.
What's going
So, was there anything
on?
else that you needed to follow up with?
I mean,
Answer.
that's as far as I go. I know that Heltheus was going to go basically talk with Kimrim, and
I mean, we're allowed to talk with Kimrim and Govin. I mean, for the document, it didn't say anything that they weren't able to communicate with anyone, right?
Yeah, like I said, they've been in their own wagon with Antarius the whole time that you guys have been on the road. They've been around at camp like
I didn't know that. I thought they were in their the wagon with Drach and
oh
all
no, not
that.
at all. They've been fine and dandy. Albeit a little bit somber, but you know.
Yeah, I can't see that far. Oh well.
Okay. So, did you want to go ahead and approach Kimrim?
Yeah. Let me get my train of thought back. So why was I going over to Kimrim?
you were going to ask about their opinion on the documents that we found, and
Oh,
what would
right.
be the good of trying to them.
I think I'd rather go to Govin first and then Kimrim because I think I have more dialogue with Govin than I do with Kimrim.
Yeah, you definitely have more history with him. But actually, as you approach the main tent of the camp, both of them are currently there conversing, along with the young Darkul Godbury, who is Govin's son. You've met
Okay.
him. You've met him, and you've had exchanges with him before. He's young, but he
Okay.
knows what's up.
Knows what's up with what?
Just he knows the situation.
What's going on right now?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So they're all talking. All right. So I'm like, kind of just taking a step by step up to him and
As you
doing some sort of bow as I come up because I'm loyal.
Govin kind of ducks his head to you in a nod of greeting. Hey, Heltheus. Kimrim sets down a teacup. She's been standing there and sipping on this tea. And oh, to what do we owe the pleasure?
I have inquiries.
Sure. Anything we can do, of course.
So, what's up with these documents, guy?
Documents? What documents do you mean?
These documents that everyone seems to be looking for and wants very preciously.
Kimrim sort of stops you right there. Govin, if you could tend to the door, please. So Govin kind of stands up and brushes the tent aside and kind of exits the tent. And Kimrim, please have a seat. Would you like some tea?
Oh, please.
She
It's not
grabs a
poisoned, is
cup.
it?
She grabs a cup. You trust Kimrim.
Okay, good.
She grabs a cup and pours you some tea. It's sort of a deep yellowish brown color. It's very fragrant. Has sort of a flowery kind of smell.
All right.
She
Sounds
sits
like something
down,
I'd drink.
tops off her own cup, and immediately picks it up and takes a sip.
Very hot.
She leans over the table toward you. We have the documents, and we are not intent on bringing them with us to see the Emperor, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. Well, that clears one thing up for me, but no, I mean, like, why should we be should we, the party, be concerned with these documents? I mean, is it something that is of our nature or business?
In my opinion, this is a dwarven matter, and thus Govin and I have decided that we will leave these documents with Darkul.
Who's Darkul?
While I don't, that's Govin's son.
Oh, okay.
While I don't ask that you get involved in this process, I do ask that you please watch over Darkul and just ensure his safety.
Well, I'll do anything for Govin. I was kind of planning on being by his side throughout the way, though. But I will look after, what was his name?
Darkul.
Darkul.
Darkul Godbury, yep.
I'll keep a steady eye on him
I thank you.
if that's what needs to be done.
Govin always spoke very highly of your service to him and your friendship and advisement.
Well, he has been a great leader. And I
You
would
have always
only,
been a skilled mage as far back as I can recall.
well, I try.
I do trust the safety of this mission with you, but I believe that you and the others, your destiny is very deeply entwined with the spreading disease and this mirror, whatever it is.
I think these documents would probably tie into this disease and everything else that's we got from the same place.
And that, my friend, is what we intend to get some information on while we're with the Emperor. Rest
Oh, that'd be
assured,
nice.
once that questioning is over, it is our intention to charter the next ship out to Schapeben and meet you there. So we may be a week, 2 weeks at most, but we'll be there.
Schapeben. All right. I
That's
will
your
be waiting.
Yeah, that's your destination once you set out from Mekurdika on ship.
Okay.
Is there anything else any other questions you had for me? Anything else I can do?
Oh, I'm drawing a blank here. What am I doing? So, look after Dark Van, or what's
Darkul.
his name? Darkul.
Yeah, just look after
And,
Darkul and otherwise tend to the party and their adventure. That's
and
basically the gist
keep
of what
the
you signed up.
documents safe with Darkul.
Yes, Darkul will have the documents. You are now the only other person that knows that.
Okay, so just uh, I don't know if I should. Yeah, for now I should keep that to myself. But if something were to happen between Darkul and the documents, then I might have to bring that to light.
She stands up, turns her back toward a big map that's sort of unfurled on the other side of the table. And she calls out, Govin, who then enters. All finished up then? And she sips her tea, takes kind of a long sip, and there's a moment of silence before she finally sighs. All I ever wanted was to study our rich and diverse history. Often I find myself entangled in these political affairs, and frankly, this is more your realm than mine, Govin. But I understand what my duty is in this situation, and I do intend to carry it out. I wish instead of running and instead of talking, could spend more time unearthing secrets and finding trinkets. He sort of chuckles. Well, if there's nothing else, then I will leave you to your devices.
Um, well, with me, there's not anything. I don't think I have anything as far as the documents go. But do you know anything about this mirror or demon? Or you got this map here? Where was it that you guys found everything?
Oh, yes, that's the ruin of Dentherum. She points at the mountain range off to the west of where you guys are. Pretty far, several weeks ride from the west of where you are.
Okay. Um, and how spread out is this disease right now? Like, where about? Uh, do you know where about how? Uh, what's this called?
She just sort of gestures vaguely at the entire like northern area of the like of the current continent that you're on, and says, "We don't know the full extent of the disease's reach. Um, just that it is spread to all the major cities that we've received reports from.
Okay, so each city, how extreme would you say each city would be so
Very.
far?
The situation is quite dire.
Would you say that the further or the closer you get to what was this ruin called? Um, whatever. So the closer you get to this ruin that you got all this stuff from, would it be worse?
That's the hard part," says Govin. "We don't rightly know. It's like this thing spread overnight. Stories kept popping up all over the place. It didn't seem to come from anywhere. The only link that we have to it is possibly this ruin. And that's why you all are going out to Schapeben to investigate it further. Well, that's one of the reasons you're going to Schapeben, I suppose.
Okay, so could it be in the water?
It could be. We don't know. We just don't know yet."
All right.
He actually seems kind of flustered at the entire thing. Like Govin, you've always known has been the type to want to be in control of his facets in the situation, and in this case, he has absolutely nothing
He
else
doesn't
to
know what's going
offer.
on.
Like he
Yeah,
looks just completely devastated over this.
this is new. It's stupid and confining and
And
confusing.
he's
Yeah,
he's
I
spent a
can see.
lot of sleepless nights trying to figure everything out to no end,
Rack his
to
brain
no
on it.
avail as well. Yes.
Right. Uh, what was it? Oh, yeah. Okay, so are we by a stream or anything? On the map are we?
So at this point, you're in the midst of a grasslands. There's not like a stream or anything nearby. But that is definitely something you could test when you
Is
hit
it
Mekurdika.
grass?
Well, yeah,
It,
there's a lot of grass.
is it actually grass or is it like dead hay?
No, it's grass.
Okay.
Cool. Did you have anything else?
At this present moment, I don't think so. If
All
I
right.
have anything that comes up, I'll start running back and forth throughout the camp to so and so and so and so.
So in closing, Govin Govin approaches you and he places his hand on your shoulder and makes dead eye contact with you.
Hmm.
He says, "We've known each other for a long time. I don't think I can trust anyone else as much as I trust you at this moment. Please, please just keep my son safe.
Have my word.
Thank you." With that, you exit the tent. Everybody,
Yeah, I'm gonna go back over to Tess. Um, once you finish up saying whatever you're saying.
yeah. By the way, everybody can go ahead and put in a long rest for this camp.
Okay, long rest. Sure, long rest. Rest. there. That should have done something.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So Heltheus approaches you once again, Tess.
Hey, Tess.
Don't worry about it. We can get to it next time. There's going to be plenty of time.
Huh? What?
Right here, I can
Plenty of-
actually take care of that.
Plenty of time for what?
I think everybody has recently rested anyway, and you guys haven't casted anything or anything like that.
I forgot
Right,
where the
yeah.
long rest button was.
See, on the.
So I actually would have needed
Foundry?
the long rest though, just because of the use of the Tides of Chaos.
Yeah.
Because the
Sure,
next
if
time
you-
I would be using it.
If you guys
On
have
the-
used anything, then go ahead and hit long.
Foundry, you see your character sheet, and underneath hit dice, it has S rest and L rest. You just push the L rest, and it does it for you.
Thanks.
Cool. Thank you. So did you have more questions for Tess then?
No, I don't have questions. But hey, Tess.
Tess looks up. Yes, Heltheus?
Hey, so you're studying this infectious disease thing, right?
Yes.
You maybe you mind maybe taking a sample of the water whenever we come about it and see if you can find anything in the water?
That sounds like a great idea. Tess will definitely save a vial to scoop some water up as soon as she can.
Cool.
Well, there's no
All
water in
right.
the immediate vicinity. There's no doubt you'll
No.
find some way to get some before you hit Mekurdika. And test it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, so far we haven't seen any undead around us on the way to Mekurdika, so the chances of it being in the water this far south or whatever, or east or whatever, it's kind of slim to none, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah, at least if you find it in the water there, you can alert the authorities where you need to.
Right.
All right. Does anybody else have any actions before we continue on our journey?
Actions. I've just been talking. I don't think I
Yeah,
need to do any action.
You know what I mean. Like, just if you have anything else you need to do before we depart.
Misku's good to go.
night?
What's up, Misku?
Misku's good to go.
Okay.
Are we
Healthy as-
departing in the night?
No, you're departing in the morning.
Oh, okay. So we're just resting until morning.
Right. So you guys rest until morning. It's a really uneventful night. It's rather quiet. Yeah, go ahead and get some additional music here. So before long, the sun comes up, and
The birds start to sing.
yes, indeed. You guys pack up the wagons and continue on down the path. Tess, you're eventually able to find said water sample. You take 3 samples of that water, and through the testing that you've learned to do so far, which is detect magic, detect poison, and detect poison and disease, you are unable to isolate any.
Particles.
Right. You can't you can't see any sort of activity from the disease as far as you can tell in the water system, which means that people should be able to drink water pretty safely without getting infected. At least from this particular source.
She's just going to keep the water in the vials in her bag for now.
It's a good idea.
Good.
As you continue down the road through prairie and hillside, a forest sprouts along the visible coast to the west. The soft sounds of the sea surge over you. The air is cool, even under a midday sun, as the path banks slightly and the grassland surrenders to the overgrowth of the forest around you. Where there once were washing waves, the wind and wildlife take their place. The trees muffling the sound of the sea, the dirt path breaks into a slight step up onto a cobble that replaces it. and the great wall of Mekurdika peeks over the treetops. The foliage soon gives way to buildings that seem to have split over the walls of or seem to have spilt over the walls of the great city, some of the structures showing signs of wear.
Here we go.
People mill about the streets here, each with appropriate and vibrantly colored facial coverings. And as your wagon passes the first building, the front gives way into a shady stall where a display of flamboyant fabrics adorn the walls. A shopkeep calls out in your direction. Headed to the city? Don't forget to buy a mask. Come, beautiful masks, bold masks, all are safe and comfortable. As you continue down the street, you can see rats running around freely. The people don't seem to mind as rats, hundreds of them, hundreds of rats, join the people in their daily activities. You glance at the shopkeeper holding a mask. A rat sits upon their shoulder, another upon the shoulder of a random passerby. As you continue down the street, you note several signs in front of buildings. Rat Market General Goods, Toolsmith,
Yeah, we're here.
Rat Market Books, Landon Briggs Tavern.
All right.
Rec looks over. Hey, Tess,
Yes, friend?
are these things free to eat?
Tess does not think that's a good idea.
Oh, are they? Do you think they're pets?
By the looks of things, with that little guy sitting on that man's shoulder, they could be co-workers.
Actually, Tess, as you look over toward the person that you're pointing at, you notice that at the end of an alley at the back of a building, there's the teeniest, tiniest little trough, and all of these rats are sort of gathered up around it, and they're drinking and eating from this trough.
Tess does suspect that they are pets or fellow villagers.
Valphalin kind of lumbers over. This is one of the most interesting things that I had seen in my travels. It appears that the people here have become so accustomed to the numerous amount of rats in this area that they have just incorporated them into their culture and society. It's very interesting.
Tess thinks they're adorable.
Would I have come to this city when I came from Schapeben?
Yes.
So would I have seen this then?
Yep.
So yeah, so you'll see Ianfyr sort of like shivering, like, the rats. I forgot the rats. How could I forget the rats?
They don't appear to hurt anyone.
Ianfyr, you don't like rats?
They're controlling everyone.
They get everywhere.
As while he explains it, though, they actually are quite numerous. They just seem to people just seem to not pay them much mind, and they're out there feeding them and yeah, using
They're
them
not
as pets.
causing any harm. They're just there.
They probably help keep the place clean by cleaning up everyone's trash.
Probably.
That's a good point. That is a very valid point. I had never considered that.
Well, it's not something you would see in some of the great cities like Schapeben, or at least there's enough around, enough of a space around that you don't see them so highly concentrated.
Yes, Schapeben's amazing. Tess can't wait to see.
Do any of these rats appear to look sickly?
Actually, no.
Okay.
Actually, no. In fact, they look quite healthy and happy. They don't seem to. They also don't seem to be afraid or mind the human beings that also surround them in the street. They just sort of coexist, and everything is fine.
Who's speak? Let's see. Where is it? What is it? Speak with animal or something?
Sure, you can do that.
I don't even know if I have it, so let me look over my spell. I don't think I have it.
That's okay.
I'm just saying, food looks plentiful here.
We are quite stocked up on food, though.
The buildings eventually pile against the wall as though they had fallen into place from high atop the stone and mortar. 2 guards stand at the wooden gate, each bearing the crest of Mekurdika upon their tabards and the symbol of House Godbury upon their shields. As your wagons approach, one of the 2 guards steps forward, her hand raised.
Tess takes this moment to make sure that her mask is on and her hood is up.
The wagons
My
come
mask
to
is
us.
always on. Sorry.
The wagons slow to a stop, and the guard says, "Stop! Before you enter the city, you must answer our riddle," she
Oh.
demands.
Blue.
One of us tells the truth, and the other only tells lies. And she looks back at the other guard, who
I remember this, I think.
his head sinks. "Gwen, can you stop fooling around? I said I was sorry."
I see
The
what you mean. It definitely tells lies.
the guard before you sort of sprouts this sly smirk across her face. She waves her hand. "I'm kidding, of course. Welcome to Mekurdika," she begins. Her voice becomes somewhat somber as she continues. "Please disembark your vehicle. Our house cleric, Balfam, will conduct a short examination to ensure you are not among the infected."
Do you have infected?
"We do. They are at the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Please, if you could please exit the vehicle so that and submit for our inspection."
Sure.
No, Val hops down willingly.
Tess also hops down willingly.
Yeah,
I'm
Ianfyr
gonna
can hop down.
hop down, but I'm gonna kind of keep an eye on what they're doing.
Okay.
Ianfyr is actually gonna sort of get in close to Tess, like before they could do their examination. Say, "How much do you know about the disease?"
Only enough to really try and detect it. Why do you ask?
Do you think it would be possible to make the House Drach representatives show as having the disease to their observations?
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
Not as far as Tess knows.
I
Without
mean, what if don't you still have that infected skin? Perhaps you can place it on them.
Throw it on them.
if we were
That's
to
funny.
stop for food, Tess could maybe squeeze some seasoning on their food
Oh my
via
goodness.
rotting
You
plague
guys are
flesh.
evil. Evil.
But we don't want to kill them.
No, it's just if they are detected with the disease, they'll have to be taken away from us slightly, at least until they do a thorough examination.
I think that would
It gives
still
us
be
more
evil.
time.
While you're talking and while you're talking and everybody's sort of lining up, there is the door. There is a small door that is embedded in this gate, and it sort of cracks open, and a smaller dwarf. He looks like, I hadn't actually been doing this. I just realized. So he, let me see. He looks like. Can I do that? I feel like I should be able to do that. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong. This one right here. So he looks like this.
Whoa.
So he's sort of a short and squat
Who's this?
dwarf. He
This
This
is the
is
person who just came out of the gate.
this is the house cleric.
Oh, okay.
So that's the house cleric. Really quick,
And this is a dwarf?
Yes, this is a dwarf. The
Huh.
guard that was speaking to you before looks like this. So that's her face. This is the
She's
house.
the one doing the examinations of
No,
everything?
she's the one that was talking just a moment ago. Baltham is the dwarf cleric who is conducting the examinations.
Ah, okay.
He approaches you.
So this is the guard and the guy is the cleric?
Yeah, this is the cleric. So he's sort of a shorter. He has bags under his eyes. He's also wearing a mask, but he has bags under his eyes.
Oh, this is a guy?
Yes.
Kind of looks like a girl to me.
With the beard.
With
The cleric
guy-
is the one with the beard.
Yeah, the cleric's the
Oh.
one with the beard.
Okay.
The girl's the guard.
Okay, so the girl's the guard, the guy's the cleric. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
So the cleric approaches and thanks. This will only take just a moment. And he clearly has like bags under his eyes. He's obviously been up for several days. He approaches first you, Tess. Once you're in the line, and he sort of produces a yew leaf from a small pouch attached to his belt, crumples it into another hand, and then sort of spreads it out before you and stares sort of vaguely through you. Have you been experiencing any physical symptoms such as fever, dizziness, unexpected death, hunger, or any hunger for flesh or brains?
No, none of those. Although you are starting to look a little tasty. Just joking.
He sort of looks back at the guard, who shrugs. Ah, a joke. I'm sorry. I've not slept in some time. Very, very busy. Next, please. And he proceeds to each of you, asking the same questions and sort of going through the same motions. Heltheus, you and Tess, you both, and any magic user here, you denote the use of the yew leaf. That he continues to produce new ones from his pouch. He sort of scatters it before you as he looks through it um, and looks at you. This is obviously some sort of spell that he's casting. And he goes through the same line of questions for each person. Any fever, any dizziness, any unexpected death? Always with the unexpected death.
Yeah, no, I'm still expecting my death in about 100 years.
I could do something.
I'm not craving anything humanoid.
That's fair. So after he's convinced of everyone, he sort of turns around and says to the guards, "I am at least 65 to 70% sure that these people are uninfected, and therefore, welcome to Mekurdika." And he proceeds back toward the gate.
Where is he?
So the other guard, so not the female guard, but the other one,
The one who lies.
comes up. This is what he looks at. This is what he looks like. Comes up, sort of with a flourish. His eyes sort of half shut. He robotically states, "Please continue to wear your masks in all public areas, as well as any indoor area where the disease could permeate. If you or anyone in your party begins to show any of the symptoms described by our house cleric, you should immediately seek refuge at the Temple of Ugin, where the clerics will tend to you when they can. Welcome to Mekurdika." And he bows and the gate. You see, one moment here, and the gates begin to slowly creak apart. Adrik, at this point, approaches you. Now, it is time for us to be on our way with Kimrim and Govin, if you please.
Well, if that is the way it must be, we'll all sort of gather around Kimrim and Govin, and we'll, or at least for Ianfyr, we'll say, if you must answer the summons, I understand, but please take care. You know you are needed not only for your own people here, but for your exploits across the rest of the world.
Thank you, Ianfyr. And thank you all for everything that you've done for us. Just know that once we're finished with our business with the Emperor, we will join you in Schapeben, though it may take a few weeks.
Stay safe, our friends.
I'm gonna miss you. And give Cameron a big hug.
Oh my!
And put her down, and then sulk off.
And like, as one of the last ones, Ianfyr will be. But besides which, you know that you always will have this. You know that you're always favored with the president of Schapeben, and he'll say this looking directly at the representative from House Drach. He's like, you know, my benefactor.
She blinks a moment and looks inquisitive, but then understands and goes, "Yes, and I thank you again for your service. And you, old friend," she turns to you, Rack. "I'll miss you too." Well, she turns to Govin. "Are you ready?" "About as ready as I'm gonna get." "Lead on. I'm right behind you. And don't worry, everyone. I swear I'll keep her safe. I'll make sure no harm comes to her."
I have
The two-
no idea what you're saying.
He's saying that he's going to go with Kimrim and keep her safe.
Who?
Govin.
Oh, okay.
So the two proceed over to the Drach wagon, where they begin to climb into the back. Adrik and his and the others are already inside. And just before they can depart, Darkul steps forward very hastily and draws out a dagger from within his
no.
cloak.
Who,
And he
who
yells,
does this?
This is the kid.
Darkul. And he says, "Father, I won't let him take you."
Okay, this is where I will do. What is this? Earthbind?
So at this point, are you casting something?
Yeah, I think I'm going to basically lock him in place. I'm trying to find where is it?
And also make an attempt to grapple him.
Okay. Go ahead and roll strength check. And then if you have something Heltheus, you can throw it in chat as well.
Okay, hang on. I'm trying to find it. I know I have something. I just need to find it. Where is it? It was like right here somewhere. Dang it. Whoa.
This is a 14. So you do you don't even need to really try to restrain him. He's pretty small. He's a pretty small individual, and he's not terribly strong. You kind of just place your hand on his chest, and it stops him sort of dead in his tracks. But as you do so, Govin actually walks directly up to him. He says, "Darkul, we're gonna be okay. We'll sort this out, and we'll see you in Schapeben." And Darkul replying says, "No, I can't let this happen, son. You have a much more important mission right now. You've got to see these
Gabby.
adventures to Schapeben, study this disease, and find a cure." And he places his hand on Darkul's shoulder. Darkul kind of turns his gaze toward the ground, says, "Yes, father." Govin kind of cracks a little bit of a smile and says, "You remember when you broke Mr. Thorbalt and Mr. Radic Hackshield's window playing horseshoes?" "Yeah, they're pretty angry." "You remember what you did?" "Yeah, I went straight to their door and I apologized. I offered to clean up the mess and help replace the window." "Now, son, that took a good deal of bravery, the likes of which not many people have. Today, I'm asking for some of that courage." Yeah, of course, yeah." So Govin pulls Darkul in, gives him a really tight hug, and you guys see his eyes are shut, and he says, "Farewell, my son. I'll see you in Schapeben when this is over."
I'll come up and like pat them on the back, I guess, not like doing a group hug thing or anything. Just pat them on the back and be like, "Cool. What was his name?
Darkul.
Darkovan. Darkul. You'll be okay with us."
Fair? And Darkul's mouth moves beneath his mask, but the word barely escapes. "I'll see you in Schapeben then," he reiterates with a hesitant confidence. As they finish their embrace, he turns toward you, Heltheus, locking eyes with you, his cheeks and eyes red as a radish, and his tears flowing like rivers soaking into the cloth of his mask. He hesitates a moment, and then he continues back toward the wagon. The gates slowly creak apart, and the city streets therein contrast the rat market as though it were a simple farming village. The sound of the denizens of Mekurdika flows freely through the open gate, crashing into you as though it were a tidal wave of sonic energy. You almost feel the need to brace yourself against the chaotic wall of noise. Get that roll in here. Hopefully that didn't do both at once. Okay. No, it didn't. Okay, cool. The streets are very busy, unnervingly so. A sea of people spans before you and parts before your horse-drawn wagon. As you pass them by, their faces are hidden by masks that float by your wagon as though they are adrift upon the tides. It is as though the problems beyond the wall are unable to find residence here, stopped by a stone and mortar hull that houses this Mekurdikan society. Welcome to Mekurdika. You guys should all see the map before you, and if you do not,
Okay, the
please let me
music
know.
might need to be turned down a little bit because I can barely hear you.
Okay, working on that now. Let me know. How's that? Any better?
No.
Now?
That's better, yeah.
Okay, cool. Turn up this thing again.
Are they still in town or whatnot?
Or who's still in town?
The Drach. caravan.
Can you go ahead and roll a perception check, please?
I remember I needed new dice. Yeah, that sucks.
No,
I need new dice.
nowhere to be seen. It is way too busy here for you to tell.
Okay.
So you guys continue through the main road, which then wraps through the center of the city, and you essentially you guys make your way. Let's see. Hopefully you can see this as I draw it this way.
I can't see nothing. Okay.
You guys don't see that drawing?
Is there
on this? Okay.
is there a weaponsmith somewhere around here?
Sure. Yeah, there's a weaponsmith in the city.
All right. I'm probably gonna go to the weaponsmith.
You're not sure if that's going to be a good idea. Remember, you guys are kind of worried that you may have been followed. In fact, you had set up with these criminal contacts to ensure that
Yeah.
you guys make it to the dock safely, first and foremost.
Yeah, we've got a mirror that we need to get onto a ship and make sure they don't know we have it.
Okay. Well, I'll split off, and if anybody's following us, then they'll follow me. Right?
Okay, that can work. So, Heltheus, I'll get to you in just a moment. We have just
All
a
right.
few more minutes, so
I'm gonna go. I'll be right back. Or can you hear me?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay. Wait, you're saying that as you exit the wagon, is it? Or you mean like,
No, he's
okay.
he's gonna be right back.
Okay, so I'll get back to Heltheus in just a bit. The rest of you, I imagine you're staying on the wagon until you reach the docks. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, yep.
That's the plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
The bustle of the harbor ward ebbs as you approach the docks. The buildings here stand in close proximity, save for the Merchant Way Street. Where once could only be heard the chaotic clamor of the crowded city, your senses are soothed by the soft sound of the sea. At the end of a block, your wagon slows to an eventual halt. Antarius leans back in the driver's seat and says, "We can park the wagon here until the ship is ready to embark." The wagons are hitched, and the horses are given feed bags. You can collect what belongings you need to carry on with your mission. After collecting his gear, Antarius approaches you once more, saying, "I'll go on ahead, make some preparations. Meet me at the tavern up ahead when you're ready." Sound good?
Yes, Tess is absolutely starving.
I can imagine. I'm pretty hungry myself. With that, Antarius hoists a shield over his shoulder, continues on down the road ahead of you. Let me see here. Can go ahead and make a quick roll. Okay. As you proceed down the streets, you catch a glimpse of Rollo Tanglestrand. Quickly, you duck down the nearest alleyway to avoid detection. You're pretty sure you weren't spotted. I'm going to go ahead and get an order working here. So do you guys have a preference on how you're set up in an alleyway? It's a 5-foot alleyway that's a very long alley between buildings. Like who's at the end of the alley toward the edge of the building?
I think for the purposes of of like the backup plan that we have, essentially, it would probably be me closest to the entrance, or closest to that to the building, essentially.
Okay. Really? Okay, you closest to the edge of the building. Who wants to be behind Ianfyr? Val
I'll
will
go
be
in
right
right
next.
behind.
Okay,
Oh.
Misku, gotcha. Cool.
Cyrene will probably want to keep hidden. She doesn't like to be, really seen in towns. So maybe kind of hiding behind someone, like maybe hiding behind Misku or something like that, kind of out of the way.
Okay.
Rec will take up the rear, because I mean I don't know where I'm going. I'm following you guys.
Okay, so we got Tess. Let me get Heltheus real quick. Him in here. All right. I think that is everybody. Let me go ahead and activate scene. All right. So, Ianfyr, from what you could see, it looked like the Rollo and the orc seem to be just up the street. They're asking around. It seems they're kind of approaching people and talking to them, sort of one at a time.
Okay.
Do we have anyone staying with the wagons currently?
Yes, there are some of the dwarven guards that you had brought with you there with the
Okay.
wagons. Also, Ahara is back there with the wagon.
Okay. All right. And where did I last see Rollo and the orc?
They're just up the main street before you, to the north.
All right. So, as my bonus action on my cloak of many fashions, I'm gonna sort of turn it into sort of looking like one of these like drab looking, like sort of walking traveler's cloaks.
Okay.
And let me see. And then sort of reaching in through my pockets, I'm actually gonna so first I'm gonna sort of motion everyone to hold where they are, and then I'm gonna reach inside, and then I'm gonna pull out, like, it looks like basically a cosmetics pouch, but it is my disguise kit here. So I'm gonna pull out a couple of props, essentially to sort of slightly alter my looks enough, and then I'm gonna slowly like head down, slowly sort of like come out from the thing with a new disguise on.
Okay. Can you go ahead and click use disguise kit? It's over on the over.
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
map.
Ability modifier.
What does it say about that?
Intelligence, public role. Okay.
You can actually go ahead and roll this with advantage. So feel free to roll it
Oh,
twice.
okay. Okay.
Nice. All right.
All right, and then
You.
so I'm like, so I'm just gonna slowly start walking along out here to
One moment, please.
sure.
Sigh. Okay. Ianfyr, as you step out, you notice a.
Okay, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back. So you guys ducked around an alleyway because you saw one of the two people that were traveling with Adrik Drach out in the street at the docks. Well, I'm sorry. Wait. You know what, Heltheus? You're actually not here yet. Now that I think about this more.
Yeah, I'm looking for the weaponsmith.
So let's go ahead and handle weaponsmith and all of that next time. Let me take a quick note of that so I remember where we're at.
Okay.
Okay. Um, all right. With that, that's actually all the time we have for today. So we will go ahead and pick this up again next time, where we will continue our story, and I'll see what happens here in the Docks District. I'd like to thank everybody who has been sitting in chat and watching, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the show. I also hope that you'll join us next week for Deep Space Transmissions at our new time block of 6:30 p.m. Central Time to 8:30 p.m. Central Time here on the VGpunx channel. As well, be sure to join us next week for the conclusion of what is going to happen here in the docks at Mekurdika. That'll be on this channel 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time. Keep an eye on my Twitter for more information on that. And until next time, keep a song in your heart.